Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of the Daily Debate. Winter is coming, and in tonight's show we're going to be focusing on the tourism sector, anticipating a boom as the winter season approaches. We're going to be focusing on that tonight. Also, the hotels in Egypt are back at full capacity. We're going to be shedding light on this issue, but before we do so, let's check out some of the stories making the news today. And we'll start off with President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi following up on a number of projects of the Armed Forces Engineering Authority at the state's level on Tuesday during his meeting with the head of the Armed Forces Engineering Authority, General Ihab al-Far. Presidential spokesman Bassem Radi said the president probed the executive state of a number of installations in the new administrative capital, especially the Parliament's Hall and Egypt's Cultural Center, along with its affiliated buildings, in addition to the diplomatic district that includes headquarters of international embassies and organizations. Also, the head of state reviewed the executive state of the World Vehicle City on Cairo Ain al-Sukhna Road, with the head of state giving his instructions to support ongoing efforts to finalize the city in an integrated way that includes all necessary services. He also probed the latest developments in El Garela project, the trade market in Nasser City, in addition to means of benefiting from land surrounding Al Asmarat district within the framework of developing the area and promoting services being offered to its citizens. President el-Sisi, meanwhile, discussed with General al-Far a number of roads, networks and axes in eastern Cairo, including Jihan al-Saded axis and Al-Daba Road, which extends for 260 kilometers. The president directed to enrich Al-Daba Road with all services as it contributes as a main vein that services the national project of the new Delta. Also, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli held talks with the French Minister of Economy and Finance to review bilateral cooperation on Tuesday. The French Agency for Development also joined the talks, which were held as part of Madbouli's visit to France, which began on Sunday. The Prime Minister stressed that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi attaches great importance to and closely follows up the cooperation projects with France. For his part, the French minister announced the allocation of 1.6 million euros to fund technical studies for a sixth underground metro line in Egypt by the end of 2021. As part of the visit, Premier Madbouli attended a reception ceremony held by the Egyptian embassy in Paris and attended by leading French personalities. Addressing the ceremony, he said the government had achieved several mega national projects that endorsed the hallmarks of Egypt's new republic. He noted that those projects that covered infrastructure, energy, bridges, roads and highways had helped Egypt to improve its world ranking to position 90 regarding highway and road services. These were a couple of the stories making the news today, but now turning our attention to the tourism sector. Egypt's hotels are back at full capacity and still maintaining the coronavirus measures. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.
Egypt has allowed hotels to run at full capacity while observing strict coronavirus precautionary measures. An official at the Ministry of Tourism said the decision had already come into effect. Egyptian hotels had been running at 70% of capacity since July due to COVID-19 regulations. Tourism Minister Khalid Al-Anani expected the tourism sector in the country to recover by mid-2022, saying the current tourism revenue represents 43% compared to the period before the spread of the coronavirus. Minister Al-Anani said he hopes Egypt records during the second half of 2022 tourism figures that are close to the levels recorded in 2019. This recovery will be achieved in case the coronavirus vaccines proved effective and were distributed at a sustainable pace in the country, which countries from tourists come from. For his part, Ilhami Zayed, the former chairperson for the Egyptian Tourism Federation, has expected that tourist flow to Egypt will recover by fall of 2022, specifically in October, and will reach its peak by 2023 and 2024. He added the sector is witnessing a gradual improvement, asking the stakeholders to be patient. Ilhami explained that the recovery depends on tourist exporting countries' classification of Egypt in terms of coronavirus spread level, as some countries put Egypt in the red zone, others in the orange, and etc. The official noted that currently Egypt witnesses low traffic from the US and Canada. Some Brazilians visited Luxor, Aswan, and Cairo, which was a good sign, as income-wise they are much higher than the traditional markets, so they hope for recovery. If this trend continues, Zayed forecasted that 2023-2024 would be an outstanding period provided COVID-19 levels stabilize. He noted that 92% of Egyptian visitors travel by air, so Egypt expects high tourist flow with airlines resuming work normally.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and joining us here tonight in the studio to shed more light on the tourism industry and sector in general is Mr. Emad Nicola, the member of the Chamber of Tourism in Egypt and also the travel expert. Mr. Nicola, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Nicola, now we've talked before and we spoke about the tourism sector and how Egypt is dealing with it post the coronavirus pandemic. It's actually not just post, we're still in the pandemic. And now it started off with 25% capacities for the hotels, then 50%. Now Egypt has announced that all hotels are back to 100% capacity. We're anticipating the winter season. Egypt is known for its winter tourism season. People go to the Red Sea Resort, South Sinai, Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada. Also, they go to Upper Egypt, Luxor, Aswan. It tends to be much warmer for everyone around the world. Now, having this taking this step, 100% capacity, approaching the winter season, before we get into that, how was the summer for the tourism sector?
Well, first let me tell you that we are forced to go into the 100%, allowing the 100% occupancy, since it is the hotels now full with the 100% occupancy in all destinations, except maybe a little space in the Upper Egypt, but Hurghada, Sharm el-Sheikh, Cairo, now is getting a room is like getting a miracle. And that's what I've expected with you last time.
Yes.
You host me here in your show, that once things will go back or near back to normal, we will boom. Because everybody wants to travel. Everybody was held for a year and a half, locked in his country, locked in his room, locked in his area, cannot travel. And since he can, everybody wants to go. Now, and that started even earlier. It started with the summer season. Summer season, the North Coast was 100% from Egyptians and Arabs, Jordanian, Lebanese, Gulf, and even Cairo, Hurghada and Sharm was picking up strongly. It was a good indication about what was going to happen later, because when we talk about August or July and August, although things were not really stable and vaccines was not spread as it should be, we were running 70s and 80%. And with the 50% that was implemented, hotels were like 100%, although they still have rooms vacant. So yes, the summer was a good indication of the winter, and now in October, when we call it the medium season between summer and winter, our country is booming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there was also the news about the Russian and the British flights coming back to Egypt, going straight as well to South Sinai. Did this really increase the number of Russian and British tourists to the country?
Well, let me remind you about also an FSO we had together more than 2 or 3 years ago when there was an embargo on the Russians. And I told you that Egypt has no space for Russians. I don't know what will happen if the Russians came back, because we already managed to fill our hotels with other nationalities. That's happening now. While we are running full with the other nationalities that start to take Egypt as a preferred destination, now the Russians are coming back. There's no room. Now, if you check in Sharm el-Sheikh, the rate is rocket high. And to get a group booked in any hotel in Sharm now, you gotta go through a long process and talk to all the people you know and you don't know to get 20 rooms for a group. It is this pressure of demand that created by the returning of the Russians and British pushed the level or the benchmark, as we say, of the room rate in Egypt high, and absolutely over the expectations of the hotels themselves was expecting to have this winter. I can hear now rooms for $800 a night in Sharm el-Sheikh in some hotels. Some other rooms is exceeding $1,000 a night. That was not expected.
Yes.
We were expecting we're going to increase the rates of 20% when the demands come. And they found that I have the room and there is a million people wants that room. So let me put the rate high. Whoever wants to pay, he's welcome to come. And it's happening. And they're welcome to come and pay the high fare now.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a problem, but it's a good problem to have. So how are we maximizing on this the sort of good headache for the tourism industry? What's the answer? Do we build more hotels? Do we? I mean, yes, the fares are higher, the rooms are more expensive, but how can we maximize on this? Because the revenues from the tourism sector constitute a big percentage of the Egyptian GDP.
This is the chance for the owners and the investors in the travel industry, infrastructures, to renew, refurbish all the hotels. Well, don't forget that we stayed in a low profile for 5 years during our revolution.
Yes.
And then we worked for 3 years, from 15 to 18, 19, and then came the corona. So the owners did not have enough time to collect money to refurbish and renew the hotels, to collect the money needed for this, for appreciation, the assets we have. Now, in 1 year time, a hotel can make out of revenue that would help him to refurbish, renew the hotels, and that's really needed. Because as we said, we have 10 years. We don't really put a good hand into renewing our properties. So now it's the time. So when we have a newer room, a refurbished room in a good condition, we can even ask for a higher rate because it's worth it. We have the demand and we have a good room. I can ask for a good revenue that I want. And that's number one. What we have, we need to improve what we have. And then come to increase what we have. There was a lot of projects that was held, freezed during the past period. Huge projects. I've seen some of them, and I felt pity that these are not coming up now, especially in Sharm el-Sheikh. It's like a city was coming there near Nab Bay, and it was freezed due to the revolution, then the pandemic. It worked a little bit, and then they stopped again. Now these things can come up. 4 hotels are coming up there in 5-star deluxe, and others. This one example. So many examples can see that, and the Rivera, what there was between Dahab, Nueva, and Taba. This area is a fantastic area. We were starting building that Rivera there, and I was very happy with that. It also freezes. Now it's time to come back. People will come back. Financing houses will start to pump money back into these projects, and hopefully within 2 years we will double. We will increase our capacity for like 20 more %.
Yes. Well, Mr. Nicola, you've shed light on a lot of these projects that were frozen, and you've mentioned the Riviera, the one linking Dahab and Nueva and Taba as well. And there are also so many other places that still didn't fulfill, even though they're great and they do have big hotels, but they still didn't fulfill their full potential, such as Suma Bay, Makari Bay, Safaga, all these places, Ras Sadr. They're well known and people go there. It's just that it's not to its full potential, and these are really bits of paradise and heaven on earth.
It is, it is.
Is it up to the public sector, the government, to really push the investors and encourage them to reinvest or relaunch these projects, or is it really down to the private investors and the hotel business?
Actually, it is up to the private investors. But let me tell you, if these private investors found the good support from the financial institutes in Egypt, then they will be encouraged to carry on with the freezing project or sleepy project, as we say. This is the only area where the government can encourage these people to proceed with the project they have. And this is, by the way, something that our government was good in it. We've seen so many initiatives coming from the Ministry of Finance, directed by the central bank, to give a low rate loans to some sectors, so they can pump up and do their part of work. And this can happen too also in the travel. Let me tell you, at the moment, the banks are scared to finance any travel segment issue, because you guys, they always talk to me like, you guys, some days you are up in the pyramid, the second day you are down the hill, and we don't know what will happen to you tomorrow. We want to guarantee our money. Now here comes the government and tell the banks, hey, we guarantee these people, just give them the loans and let them work. Here it will be a great opportunity for the investors to proceed, and we need rooms. End of the day, we need rooms everywhere, not only in Sahel Hashish or Suma Bay or wherever. In Cairo, we need rooms. In Alexandria, we need rooms everywhere. The potential of this country is humongous. It's huge. And we just need to build a better capacity, and we will get more business. We'll be paid back very well.
Well, Mr. Nicola, now speaking about the governments and how the investors should be more encouraged. Well, just yesterday there was a presidential decree by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of lifting the state of emergency for Egypt all over the country now in your line of business, do you feel that there are ripples as a result of such a decree? There's been a lot of talk about Egypt now is practically an oasis of safety and security and stability. Do you think that now investors will be like, well, they even lifted the state of emergency, which has been around for quite some time now?
A long time. I can't remember when it was lifted before. It was since Mubarak time, maybe he stayed for 30 years, maybe 15 years of them till now. It is very good for our reputation as a country that now we don't have out of law orders. We go by the law. We are a country of institutes, so nobody would come and be scared to come to you. In all levels, not only the investors, even the travelers. Maybe because nobody really heard about these terms of sanctions on the but the institution country that goes by the law is a welcoming country, welcoming for everything. And I thank our president for what he did. It is quite an achievement. It shows to the world that we are safe. I love the way we dealt with Corona. Egypt was one of the best, although people were like sometimes looking at us like they don't have embargo, they are in the streets. Yes, we were. Our country cannot stand being locked down for a long time, and we're still one of the best countries who survived Corona. I am one of the people who got Corona. What was the problem? Just like any other disease. I took it, it went off, and I'm here. So I love the way our government is dealing with the issues. I adore what our president did to our country. We jumped years ahead of what our president did, and I wish it will keep going. Now we are in our country. There is places that I can't find anywhere else in the world. Let me tell you, the North Coast, the new Alamein, believe me, the future is there. People were begging me last summer to find a room in any hotel during July and August. We need to build hotels there too, coming back to the old point. It is quite encouraging. I believe tomorrow is better for every Egyptian in this country. I believe so.
Yes. Well, Mr. Nicola, now you spoke of the North Coast, and it is usually a summer destination. But now, talking about all these new cities, talking about the new Alamein city, talking about the airports being built there, the new airports around Cairo and Giza, talking about all the facilitations in terms of infrastructure and travel, whether be it by land or air travel. Do you think that the country now is ready to have an all-year-long, fully serviced, fully equipped, 5-star treatment for tourism?
We are, but what we need to do is to concentrate or our efforts on a certain areas that needs help. We need to finish the new Alamein like tomorrow.
Yes.
This is, as I was just saying, people are coming from all over the world trying to buy properties there. I've visited and I've seen it. It's a fantastic place, and it will be a year-round destination. Don't forget, you and me, we know. Well, we need to show that to the people, that weather in the North Coast during winter is fantastic. Only we have like the 5 times storm
Yes.
that comes through 5 or 6 times. Other than that, the weather is excellent. If we now, when we are investing in this area, and we have things for people to do there, universities, fun houses, fun area, fun like Disney. I heard that Disney was planning to come here. It will be a year-round destination, definitely. We just need to concentrate on the attractions, things that attract people to come to these cities, and invest there and stay there and visit there.
Yes.
This not only the Galala, it's amazing place up there in the mountain, overwatching the sea all over the. These things, when it comes out, we will have it 12 months a year, business and leisure destination.
Yes, definitely. Well, it seems that Egypt has always been high on the beach tourism and also cultural tourism, but we're blessed to have medical tourism, we have religious tourism as well, and there's still a lot of room for improvement there, because still a lot of people go to different places, go to Siwa, go to Fayoum, they do yoga trips, meditation trips, talk about the sort of pilgrimage of the holy, the journey of the Holy Family throughout Egypt, talking about all these things in addition to all the museums being built all over the country, including South Sinai. Now, is this one room for improvement that we can still expand our touristic activities for foreigners coming here to Egypt, and also the domestic tourists?
Absolutely. I was just giving you the examples of Galala and Alamein, but the areas you're talking about now, you just mentioned, is the areas where you can increase business for increased traveler business besides the regular ones. Now, as you just mentioned, Siwa, it's fantastic place. And the way it is, without modernization, is a huge attraction.
Yes.
We just need to, which is we are good at now, to improve the roads up till there, which is now what our government is very good at it. We need to improve we need to put more rooms there and make it available for, because Siwa, within the autumn and spring, you can't find a room there. You can't find a room.
Yes.
We still need to focus in these areas to develop them the way it is, without modernization, and make it available for more people. And the safari trips, these were a very big attraction, but unfortunately, since the incident happened there for the tourists, the Mexican tourists, if you remember, we've been closing the desert for these safaris till now. I urge the Interior Minister to look at this thing, try to reopen it. We've been having requests every day that we deny people wants to come and do camping in the desert and visit the White Desert and the Black Desert and the beautiful things we have in the oasis along the way down to the Till Luxor. We need to reopen that and develop it the way it is, but developing it. These are the areas that still need, I can't say an improvement, but we need to be focused at and improve the capacity of it so we can absorb more business to come in.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, talking about the winter season for the tourism sector, also a very peculiar and very interesting event that happens in Upper Egypt, the sun perpendicularly lying on the face of the statue of King Ramses II in Abu Simbel Temple in Aswan. It's a great opportunity to promote the tourism area, tourism sector. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.
Tourism Minister Khalid Al-Anani said that the celebration of the unique phenomenon of the fall of sun rays on King Ramses II statue in Abu Simbel in Aswan is seen as a genuine opportunity to promote tourism for Egypt. After taking part in the celebration, Minister Al-Anani said that more than 50 invitations were extended to ambassadors along with writers, intellectuals and editors-in-chief to take part in the event. The minister said that he held a meeting with the ambassadors during a dinner on board of a tourist cruise in Abu Simbel to get them briefed on the latest anti-coronavirus related measures taken by the government to control the pandemic ahead of returning to normal life. The attendees took a group photo in front of the temple with the respective flags of their countries. Al-Anani and the ambassadors toured the Abu Simbel temple and parts of Ramses II. The group also visited the temple of the wife of King Ramses II, Queen Nefertari, and the tour was also attended by the Aswan governor and top officials from the Tourism and Antiquities Ministry. The ambassadors attended sound and light show in their construction and rescue stories. Abu Simbel Temple celebrates the sun rays fall on the Holy of Holies at Ramses II Temple twice a year, on February 22nd and October 22nd. During this phenomenon, which occurs at 5:52 a.m. and lasted for nearly 20 minutes, sun rays enter the temple sanctum to light 3 of 4 statues. The 3 statues belong to King Ramses II and the deities Amon-Re and Re-Horakti. The god of darkness, Ptah, remains in shadow to symbolize his connection to the underworld. In the first of its kind initiative, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities held an extensive meeting with more than 60 Egyptian ambassadors and consuls and generals to represent Egypt abroad.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Continuing our discussion with Mr. Nicola. Now, sir, talking about the Red Sea, South Sinai, we also have to talk about Upper Egypt, which is practically an open museum for those 2 cities, talking about the Nile cruises, 4 days, sometimes 5 days, a magical part of Egypt. And we spoke before about how it has been hard hit as a result of the pandemic. However, now the story is a little bit different. How is it different?
It is significantly different. It is. We are talking now, we are back to over 60% of our Nile cruise capacity start running. And I believe within the winter, the rest will move. The rest of the floating hotels will start moving. And I'm very happy for that because it is one of our treasures.
Yes.
Upper Egypt is our treasure. And it really hurts knowing that people cannot go there or don't want to go there for whatever the reason is, pandemic and so and so. The package even for Upper Egypt is more beneficial to to our country because it has a lot in it. It has a Nile cruise. It has a lot of visits. Visits include entrance fees. Entrance fees means income to the country. Lately, I've seen, I can say that 60% of the boats start moving, and I believe the rest will be operating very soon. Hotels are picking up, also going in the area over 60% in Luxor. And Aswan is over 70 to 80%, because actually Aswan one of the areas where we need to put rooms at. We only have like 3 or 4 hotels with 5-star there, and 4-star is 1 or 2. So Aswan needs more room. and it always comes to the maximum capacity as one. Luxor, because it has a lot of hotels,
Yes.
so the capacity is available, and the demand can find rooms there. And one of the good things that we just been talking about of the air is the flight they made,
Yes.
Egypt Air made between Luxor and Sharm el-Sheikh. This is a very important flight, and we missed it for a long time. I'm very happy that it is back, because imagine a client wants to finish his cruise in Luxor and wants to fly to Sharm el-Sheikh. Before that flight starts, client had to travel from Luxor to Cairo and get a connection from Cairo and fly to Sharm el-Sheikh, and that cost him a lot. Then he ignores the trip, or he can go to Hurghada nearby, still 4 hours driving. It's not really easy trip. So 1 hour now from Luxor to Sharm el-Sheikh with a nice rate. It's not expensive at all.
£1,800. That's $121 basically.
That's nothing. That's absolutely important flight. Absolutely happy to have it back in our schedule. And I can tell you, don't worry, Upper Egypt, within 2 months, if I come here in this show, after January, I'll tell you they are full.
Do you think, Mr. Nicola, that such a little difference for that that detail of the flight from Sharm el-Sheikh to Luxor, $121, you've been telling me that a lot of people in the Red Sea, they always want to go to Upper Egypt, but because it's way too many flights, it becomes a bit more expensive, so they just ignore it. Do you think that such a little detail of that air travel can make the biggest difference for the tourism there?
Let me tell you, this is a very important point that you just touched now. We need to have better strategy when it comes to flights, internationally and domestically. When we start with domestic flights, a flight like what we've been talking about, it's been well missed. Why can't we send clients from Sharm el-Sheikh to Luxor and spend an even overday, a flight 6 o'clock in the morning and a flight at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, overday, and it will be full. Let me tell you, it will be full daily, because people in Sharm el-Sheikh, of course, they want to go to Luxor, even if they are coming for the beach, but they have a chance to go to Luxor and see the Karnak and see the Luxor temple and the statues and things, and Tutankhamun, the tomb, they will come flying. But we didn't have the flight. Now when we have the flight, I'm sure it will be full. Now, Abu Simbel flight, it flies from Aswan. We still, up till this moment, we do have struggle to get flights to Abu Simbel, although it is a very popular visit, and thousands of clients, especially those night cruise clients, wants to go and see it, usually full. We used to have other airlines contributing in this legs to Abu Simbel. Now they stopped. We need Egypt Air. They supported Luxor, and they have to support Abu Simbel too. And then it comes to the international. We have a blessed, and we have, at the same time, is an obstacle. What it is, that a lot of Egyptians is working in a lot of destinations, especially within the Arab countries. So when it comes to any seasonality, a feast, Eid, or a summer vacation, all these Egyptians wants to come to enjoy their vacations in Egypt with their family. So all the flights are full. And the clients wants to come and can't find the seat. Now we need to have a solution for this. Extra flights, special flights, whatever it is, whatever it is. But we need during the summer to add extra flights to Riyadh, Kuwait, Jeddah, Amman, Oman, you can't find the seats in these flights because mostly the Egyptians are going and coming back.
Yes.
And that also applies to Europe. And Europe to some destinations. We are counting on the European carriers to bring us the tourists to Hurghada and Sharm el-Sheikh with a charter company. Why don't we have a regular one? Why don't we have a regular flight from Paris directly to Sharm el-Sheikh? From London directly to Hurghada? Why not? We had trials long ago, but I don't know, they did not go on. But I'm sure these flights will be filled.
Yes. Mr. Nicola, now, you've been in the tourism and travel business here in Egypt for decades, and we've spoken about, I mean, I want to look at it from a different point of view, perspective, which is the workers and the employees working in the tourism sector here in Egypt. Now, you've told us before about the difficulties for the tourism industry here in Egypt since the revolution and then post during the coronavirus pandemic. A lot of people went out of business, a lot of people left the sector. There was no money, basically. There was no revenue or income for the companies and the agencies nor the hotels. And now it's a 180 degrees situation. Do you feel that now people who left the sector are coming back? Do you feel new people are joining the tourism sector? Do you feel more travel agencies are being established? Do you feel that there is some sort of a healthier competition now? How is the scene behind the doors as you experience it?
Well, it's a little bit early to say that everything is coming back to its place, but it is coming back in the way, in processing. Excuse me. What I've seen in the past 2 months, that take me for example, some of my employees start to come back if they did not join anything else. They start to come back and asking their colleagues, Mr. Emad is like hiring back us, and I, even those who did not tell them come back aboard, I told them, hold it, you're coming. If you want to come back, I'll take you back. Just give me 1 more month or so. So yes, there is somewhere over 50% of the manpower who left the industry is willing to come back because they love it. We always say that travel is within our blood. It's a business that when you work, when you work in it, you can't just leave it. It's a passion. So 50 to 60% of those who left the industry, I guess they will be coming back. And thanks God it didn't take longer time, the pandemic. If it would have been longer for like another 6 months, we would be a very difficult situation. But now most of them are coming back, and even those who went abroad to have a job outside Egypt, most of them wants to come back.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very hopeful situation Egypt is enjoying now within the tourism industry. Tourism is back with a boom, and Egypt is ready. And as well, the man force and the employees within the sector are coming back, as Mr. Nicola mentioned. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. But before we go, I'd like to thank my very distinguished guest, Mr. Emad Nicola, member of the Chamber of Tourism here in Egypt and the travel expert, Mr. Nicola. Always a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Night International. I'm Henny Saif. Thank you for joining us.